Johny, you're the Asia Rugby CEO and co-founder and previous President of Cyprus Rugby with a proven track record. What inspired your interest for the sport?
So growing up in South Africa, rugby was part of your daily routine. Breakfast, lunch, supper, rugby. That was part of the growing up process in South Africa. And I think from a very young age, I became very attached to the sport. I wasn't very good at it, but I became very, very attached to the sport, up to and including the time I came here to Cyprus. And you mentioned the word co-founding, and that's quite interesting because civilian rugby was not really set up in Cyprus when I came here. And it was a select group of people from all parts of the world who knew about rugby, who loved rugby, who wanted to see rugby on the island, who saw the potential for rugby on the island, and all on a voluntary basis. When everybody had free time, we all did our little bit, and this is where we are today, 16 years later, 17 years later. It's taken a lot of time for the Cyprus Sports Authority to sort of notice rugby as such. So the Cyprus Sports Authority does provide sponsorship across the board for all sporting federations here. And within some sporting federations, they know the intricacies and how it operates, and they'll probably go and support what have you. The first time that somebody from the Cyprus Sports Authority and the Cyprus Olympic Committee that actually came to a rugby game and to see what it's about, to see the gentleman nature of the whole product that you put together when you put on a rugby game, was about a year and a half ago to 2 years ago, I think. And the support from then until now has gone from really good to absolutely fantastic with us. So we do have the support from the Cyprus Sports Authority, and we are very grateful to them, and also from the Cyprus Olympic Committee. And also, with regards to our communities, within all 4 cities where rugby is established here in Cyprus, there is a strong Cypriot support contingent that we have, and we're very proud of that.
A high-powered CEO selection committee was set up by Asia Rugby Executive Committee to find the key person to help drive the governing body of Asia Rugby forward, and of course to establish an attractive product to sell to advertisers. What was the selection process like?
Nerve-wracking. I think perhaps it was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done in my life. But when I saw the advert, and when I saw that it entailed taking small to medium nations, unions, and assisting them, building them up, being there for them, serving them, working for them, doing as much as we can for them, it kind of took me back to the start of Cyprus Rugby, where these are the things that we had to do on a monthly basis, daily basis, weekly basis, in order to get the federation to where we are here. And back then I was very, very hands-on. So reading the prerequisites of what you needed to do and what they required from you, most of the boxes were ticked. That was the easy part. I think the difficult part was actually getting there and sitting in front of a panel of 7 people and telling them that, yes, I do come from a very small place called Cyprus, but believe me, the blood, sweat and tears is good enough to cover the whole of Asia. So in terms of the accomplishments that we have done, what we have achieved here in Cyprus is that, all that work that we have put in, and knowing what it's like to build a union and a federation from zero, I think gave me enough confidence to apply for that particular position. And as I said, that was the easy part. The most difficult part was actually getting through that process of sitting in front of 7 people on the selection committee and trying to convince them that somebody from Little Cyprus is actually maybe good enough to consider for this particular position.
Rugby is still very much in its beginning phase in Cyprus. However, the success of our national team has set the tone for a long and bright future in the sport. Is the process of establishing and promoting rugby as a good product a challenging one, especially in a country where rugby isn't a popular sport?
First and foremost, looking at Cyprus Rugby, the most important thing is to have the right people representing the sport on an executive level. If you have the right mix of people in there who will be able to carry the flag for the sport in all facets required to take this federation, or to take the Cyprus Rugby Federation, or to take the sport to be able to create a good product, an investable product, a credible product to the government, to the Olympic Committee, to potential sponsors, then I think this is the winning mix. And we've been very lucky here in Cyprus in that everybody sitting on the executive, past and future and present and perhaps even future as well, I hope that they all care about rugby very passionately. It's not a position where you get a reward of any sort whatsoever. There is no kudos to this in terms of the accessorized networking that you get from being on the Cyprus Rugby Federation. It's a seat that you take and a responsibility that you take purely out of the love and passion that you have for rugby, and to take this federation forward on the background of the vision that you have as the leader at that time of this federation.
What are the principles you live by?
Never become complacent in one position. Always evolve. Never ever give up. Never let anybody tell you that you are not good enough for something or inexperienced. Always remember, especially from me, is that people are your most valuable resource in all parts of life. Those are my principles.